Today we're going to start getting ready for our clay project. Sometimes you might hear people call clay projects ceramics. Anything that is ceramics is just a piece of art that's made with clay. We get clay from the ground, and different clay companies clean out all of the sticks and rocks before it gets sent to us. You can use your hands or a pottery wheel to make things with clay. We'll be using our hands. After we use our hands to form our clay projects, we will put them in the kiln. The kiln is an oven made specifically for clay. It's hollow on the inside and gets way hotter than your oven at your house. When we turn the kiln on, that is called firing, and after your project comes out, it is way stronger than it was before. To build your project, we're going to focus on the skill of coiling, or rolling long snakes of clay and stacking them up. We will use our coils to form the top part of a cupcake. You'll get a chance to decide how you want your cupcake to look, what kind of toppings you'd like to go on it, and what colors you want your frosting to be. Let's go ahead and get started on practicing those coils. When you get your Play-Doh, you might notice that it's a little bit tricky to open or to get your Play-Doh out. You can ask a friend for help, but another solution is to gently squeeze up and down and turn to loosen your Play-Doh from the sides. It should pop out pretty easily then. I would focus on making more than one coil today. Go ahead and take your Play-Doh and break it into two sections. It doesn't matter if they're equal or not. And then to start my coil, I'm going to use my hands to start a fat log. I always start this log in my hands and then I transition onto the table. You'll notice when I'm doing this, I'm using a flat hand. I'm going from the tips of my fingers down to the bottom of my palm and back up again. It's really important that you stretch your hand up and down all the way, going slowly and not pushing too hard on your coil. If you push too hard, your coil will be flat and it will thump kind of weirdly on the placemat. If you notice that's happening, turn it back into a ball and try again. You want your coil to be the same thickness when you roll. If one side's too thick, just push on that one side until it gets to the right thickness. When your coil gets really long, you can start to use two hands to go ahead and go at the same time. It's really important that your hands are overlapping so that they're moving together. You do not want your hands to be moving in a different direction. Sometimes when you're rolling, you might want to stop and look at your coil to make sure it's not too thin in some spots. If it's too thin, it could break there, and you should go ahead and reattach it to make it stronger. I just overlapped and continued rolling to cover up that weak spot in my coil, and now my coil is nice and strong again, and I can keep rolling. The next skill I want you to do is try to form some donut shapes from your coils. Simply roll them out and attach end to end together to make an O shape. Be careful as you bend so you don't crack your coil. Ceramic artists usually use coils to create tall stacks and then sometimes will go back and smooth out those stacks. Sometimes they'll leave them showing. Here are some examples of artists using coils to build up structures. When you work on your cupcake, the top will be a stack of smaller and smaller donuts. So you should go ahead and use this next opportunity to practice. Watch the video to see how to go ahead and make your donut stack. You're ready to go ahead and try making the top of your cupcake. Take your Play-Doh and break it into 3 equal-ish sections. They don't have to be perfect. Put 2 to the side and grab 1 to start making a coil. Start in your hands and then go to the table. You want to try to make this coil nice and long so that way it'll be a great base. This coil sets up the size for the rest of our coils. I'm going to roll up and down, going nice and carefully and gently to make sure my coil's the same thickness. When it gets long enough, I can go ahead and switch to using 2 hands instead of 1. It'll go a little faster then. When my coil is about the size of both of my hands, I'm going to go ahead and stop. When I stop, I'll put the coil off to the side, and I'm going to grab the remaining pieces of Play-Doh that I have. I'm going to make 2 more coils that are the exact same length. When I've got coils that are about the same length, I'm going to go ahead and start taking some pieces off to ensure the sizes are going to be right. You can just push and pinch and pull off those extras. There's going to be my shortest coil, and then this one's going to be about in the middle, so I'll take off a little bit there. Starting with your biggest coil, slowly and carefully bend and overlap the ends. Then press the 2 pieces together and use your fingers to smooth out where you just joined. You want to erase any evidence that you put 2 coils together there. So make sure you do a good job of smoothing. That'll make your coil nice and strong. When your first donut is done, you're going to want to use your middle donut coil and again gently bend. If you feel like it's not long enough or is too long, you could always change its size. I made mine a little bigger. Again, overlap and smooth out. If you need to remove some, you can do that so it fits better on that base coil, and try to make sure there's no evidence that those coils ever were joined together. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and use that smallest piece to go ahead and add my top layer onto my cupcake. I'm going to bend him around. Looks pretty good. I don't have a really big hole in the middle, which is perfect, so I can put on a topping later, and I'm going to smooth out the evidence. Great. Now you have a stack of 3 coils that are slowly getting smaller. You can use some of your extra Play-Doh to think about what you'd want to have as a topping. It could be something like a food, like a cherry, or you could be creative and make it a soccer ball or a hockey puck. You have fun creating what you'd like. When you go to clean up today, please don't leave a mess. Sometimes Play-Doh leaves little bits all over your workspace. Take your bigger ball and use it to press on all those little pieces, and then go ahead and roll it into a regular ball shape. If you make it a perfect circle, it won't go in the container very well, so try to make it more of a long potato shape. That long potato slides right in. Please don't push it down for the next person, and put that lid on nice and tight. Make sure you push all the way around so air can't get in and that Play-Doh stays nice and soft.